Hello, hello. I need to make sure I'm close enough to the mic for it to be able to hear me. Oh, you haven't watched the new video? No worries, no worries. I'm gonna fill everybody in at the moment because we're gonna be doing some stuff relating to the things that I was doing in the video. And yeah, we've almost hit 400 subscribers already. It's mad, honestly. I keep saying it, but I'm so blown away by how quickly this channel's growing. It's amazing, and it's really awesome to have all you guys supporting me on this fun and interesting journey. So I hope everybody is doing well. As you can tell, probably by the title of the video, today we're going to be doing bug fixing, which is probably not the most interesting thing, I'll be honest, but we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some fun as much as we can, trying to figure out what our problems are and getting things fixed. I've got a list of 4 main bugs that I want to get done in this stream, so we should be able to get most of them done in the live stream that's going. And for anyone who's in stream who hasn't seen the latest devlog yet that just went up literally yesterday, let's talk about what I did. So first things first, we got the dialogue system put in properly, so it's actually fully functional now. We've added in this little placeholder dialogue character thing that I can talk to. We did some extra animation stuff to make wall jumping look a little more natural, and we're going to be looking at that again today as well, because there's just a few extra steps I want to do on top of that. And sound as well, most importantly, is probably the other thing that we've added in, which we're also going to be looking at today, because there's some places where sound should be playing where they're not. So yeah, that's the general summary, and generally what we're going to be looking at doing today. And if we've got time at the end, we might look at starting to add items back into the game again. Either that or starting to get the enemies back up and running, but we shall see. Joseph, you are absolutely right. It might not be interesting, but it does need to be done, and especially with some of these. So let me just read the list of bugs that we've got to fix in this live stream real quick. We've got, first of all, a dialogue pause glitch, which I'll demonstrate these while we're going. Actually, let's not zoom in so that we can't see. There we go. How are the sound levels, by the way? I'm getting audio from a different source to usual, so it might be a bit less. Let's turn it down a bit, actually. There we go. We're using YouTube video because I wanted a bit of a change up on the music today. So there we go. We've got some audio going here. Pause menu audio as well. So there's bug number 1. I'm pressing the down arrow right now, and it's moving up. So that's bug number 1. Bug number 2. Watch what happens when I press space to continue this conversation. Pause menu opens, and again, and again, and again, and again. And I can move about now that the pause menu isn't closed. And I think if I press escape, it's fine. But that's a pretty major bug. It's definitely a breaking bug, so we're going to fix that. Another one that we've got, if I'm walking and I press the pause button, we just keep going. I'm not touching anything and he's still moving. So that's something we're going to fix as well. And also, you might have noticed when I was over here doing the dialogue, there's no sound, and those buttons are flashing. So there's a lot of bugs that we've got in the game that we're gonna fix those today, because they're actually just silly oversights on my part. So we'll hang about for an extra minute, just in case anyone else comes into the game, into the stream. Oh yeah, and I've disabled, for the sake of the video, I disabled the code that does the animations for the wall. But we're going to be working on fixing all of these wall jumping values as well, so that it plays a bit nicer, and then we'll be in a position where we can actually make some decent progress with getting the enemies back in, getting the shops back in, getting some level changing going on, and actually moving towards the first demo of the game, which I'd like to release at least by this time in April, or this time in March. Late March, early April is when I want to be able to get something out. So that's what we're going to aim for. Another thing that I want to say while I'm thinking about it, I've got a weird thought, kind of feeling in my head about the game and the direction the game should go in. Because obviously originally the primary ways of combat that I wanted to have for the game were jumping on people's heads and sliding into them. And I think that's fine, and it definitely obviously works because it's the combat system that Mario uses, and Mario is one of the like classic platformer games, but obviously Mario is not known for its combat, and it's not known for being extremely difficult combat wise. So I'm half in a mind where I'm now debating if combat should take a back seat in the game, and I should be putting more focus into the platforming aspect, and making that a challenge, and just having these extra enemies there to kind of aid that platforming difficulty. But I'd be interested to hear what you guys think about that, whether you want to have it, you think having the more platforming centric game style makes more sense, or if you think it makes more sense to just add in more combat solutions, because we could quite easily just add in a kick or something, just an extra close range melee attack, and that's fine, that's easy enough to do. It's just not the vision that I had originally for the play style of the game, because everyone's done the close range combat platformer melee roguelike, you know. I don't particularly want to do the same thing, but for the sake of designing the game being fun, it might make more sense. So, like I say, let me know in the chat what you think about that, and I'll take it into due consideration. But anyway, let's start moving down this checklist. So first things first is the dialogue pause glitch. I know how to fix this one already, so we'll have a look at how I've got my pause menu set up and how I've got the dialogue set up, which I'm planning on doing a tutorial for this week actually, instead of a devlog, so that I can I'm thinking of doing bi-weekly devlogs now and doing a different kind of video every week, like the how to do art for your game video, or a tutorial for how I've got systems going. That's where I'm thinking about moving with the channel. So that's what we're going to try out for a little bit, see how it works, see how it gels with people and with myself in terms of my content creation. But as a precursor to that, the way the pause menu is set up is that the player presses escape and it triggers a let's have a look here on the player controller that fires off this on pause method, which says if context.performed, which is if the button has been pressed, if it's just been pressed down, not if it's been lifted or held, just pressed, then we'll print out a log saying that we are pausing the game, and we will call this method on the game manager called toggle pause, and also set the current menu of the player to be equal to our game manager .instance.pause menu, which is the pause menu of the game. I'm just setting it in the game manager so that it's globally accessible because it's acting as a singleton. If that doesn't make any sense to you, don't worry, it'll become somewhat clear in a moment. So on my game manager, this toggle pause method sets this boolean in menu to be true, freezes all entities. If we're not in a dialogue sequence, it switches the input control scheme of the player from the player controls to the UI controls, because some of them are different and it helps to have those separated out. And then if the pause menu is not set to null, we're going to activate that menu basically, so show the UI on the screen. So the problem then comes with the button itself. Our button that we've got in the menu, if I just head back over into Unity real quick and go into our pause menu, the continue button, buttons have a event on them, which is basically just a method that is, it's like a thing that's fired off, and then that can trigger methods anywhere you want them to. So it could call a method on the game manager, which is exactly what it's doing, and that is the toggle pause menu that we've got. So we are basically just doing exactly what would happen if you press the escape button or the back out of the menu button again when we're calling this toggle pause menu. The issue with that is that it doesn't unset the current menu parameter of the player. So when the player then goes to have a conversation with like an NPC, it doesn't update the menu because there's no buttons to choose from there. And it means when you press the space button, you're actually hitting the continue button in the pause menu, even though the pause menu is hidden. And so it's calling this toggle pause method again, which is then pausing the game and unpausing the game and pausing the blah, 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 blah. So that's the problem that we've got, is we need to be making sure this current menu is being set to null. Really, I should be doing this in a much better way, but I don't want to because I'm a bit lazy. So we're just going to go here and say controller dot current menu equals null. If oh wait, we want to put an if statement here to say if in menu is equal to false. So if not in menu. If we're not in a menu, we're going to set it to null. Otherwise, actually, here we go. Let's do see the bet. So I'm going to remove the setting of the current menu from this player now, I think. I'm going to have to think about that. I'm going to check the chat real quick. Maybe later in the game, combat can become a bigger focus, and in the beginning, focuses on platforms, so you have combat, but your idea is great. Thanks, man. Thanks. That could work. It's just, yeah, it's just the main thing of the combat style, jumping on things' heads, is it's not particularly dynamic for a wide range of things. Like, I'm thinking if you've got a flying enemy as well that comes towards you from above, I suppose it would make sense if the move speed of that's lower, because you can jump off the wall and land on its head. But yeah, I don't know. It's I think it's going to be one of those things that I just have to do, just have to get it done and then test it and see how people respond to it. Yeah. It's probably just going to be one of those, and if it doesn't respond well, that's fine. We can just go back and redo the level design to play better into platforming. Because what I'm thinking as well is the bonus rooms that I want to put on, which will have things like hats and mad secret items, or like loads of gold or something in them, will be very heavily platform based. So kind of like the King's Palace, Path of Pain, that's what it's called, in Hollow Knight, where there's just like saws and difficult platforming challenges all over the place. But yeah, I'm thinking that might be a good move. No, not at all. It's feedback is priceless, honestly, and ideas from you guys as well can't get enough of it, because it's, you know, it's hard when you're making a game on your own. You're the only sounding board that you've got, and it's something that I'm kind of used to, being a solo musician as well, and writing music by myself, and sort of doing these designs and creative things by myself, which is much my own choice, because I enjoy having the creative control and freedom of being able to do stuff just myself. But it's easy to get stuck in that kind of tunnel vision mode when you don't have people to bounce ideas off and give you feedback from. So honestly, it's priceless stuff, the feedback from you guys. Okay, so back to the task at hand. What we're going to do here is have an inline if statement saying controller.current menu. Oopsie daisy. I don't know why I'm typing that again. Controller.current menu equals. And we will say if in menu. So if we're going into a menu, we're going to say it equals pause menu. Otherwise, we are going to set it to null, and I just need to make sure I get that syntax right. There we go. So that's cool. That means we can get rid of this line in here. So we no longer we're not setting the pause menu in the player class anymore. We're just setting it in the game manager, which is cool because it means we actually have more control over who gets what. So if I go back in now, we're just going to test to make sure that that works. Oh, we got a null reference exception. Game manager line 107. A? Oh, of course. I'm not doing this null check over the whole thing because the way I've set it up is that this players array is a static array of 4 because I'll only ever have 4 players maximum in the game. So we need to make sure that we do a check for if any given controller is null, and then we can do that in there. As an optimization point, there was a comment from someone on the last devlog, the one that just went up yesterday, about having if statements all over the place, and it's absolutely right. The more I have, the less optimized the code is, the more checks you have to do, more storage you use up, blah 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 blah. Doesn't aid performance very well. So an optimization that we could do in this position is, instead of having a for each where it goes through everything in there and then checking if each value is null, we could switch it out to have an integer that tracks the number of spaces that are filled up in that array, and then we can iterate over the array up to that count, which makes a lot more sense for getting rid of these if statements. The issue that arises then is if a player leaves the game in the middle of the game, which I might take out as an option. If the player leaves the game, you have a hole in the array, but you decrease that number, so you might have a null position in the middle of 2 players, which you don't want, because then we'll have some issues checking things there. But that's getting a bit technical. So let's come out of the grass a little bit. There we go. Cool. Our pause menu still works, and now we should be able to go over here, and we don't have the bug anymore where we're talking and things happen, but we do have a null pointer exception being thrown here on line 24 of the dialog trigger. If active collision is not equal to null and player.mycontroller dot blah blah blah, that's a bit weird. What is it that's null there? Dialog triggered by player -1. Thanks, man. That's really cool. What projects are you working on at the moment, Hector? By the way, I'm talking to you, Hector. I saw your message just pop up. That's awesome that you like having this on in the background. But tell me more about your project. I love hearing about what you guys are doing as well. And I'm gonna see if I can figure out why there's a null pointer here. So, what I'm realizing here is we're getting a debug log saying this is triggered by player -1, which means our player object isn't set up correctly. Player index 1. What's the controller saying? 1. Yeah, so our event hasn't been fired correctly here. So what we're doing in player, when we play controller even, when we press the E button, we invoke an event with our current class. Why is that happened? Hold on, I want to see if that was a fluke, because that shouldn't happen. Ooh, that's interesting. So it's firing off the event twice with a null player and the player that we've got. So it works once, but it throws this null pointer exception as well. That's a bit random. So that will be what we figure out next, I guess. Let's have a looky here. I played a game where you can choose between the amount of players, but everyone had to leave the game back to the menu for someone to leave. Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing for this, because certainly in terms of balancing when you have multiple players, like you need things like more enemies or more cash drops so that people can buy more items. You need to give bosses more health, because otherwise the more players you have, it just gets exponentially easier to beat the boss. So if you did that and made it so that you could join 4 players in, and then you get to like the final world and the boss is really hard now because it's compensating for having 4 players, and then 3 of the players leave, it just basically would become impossible. So yeah, it'll be the same for me, but thinking about the way that I want to do the menus and stuff, I want to have it feel nice and fluid. So regardless, the player array, like the menus will still be, you'll be playing as the player, kind of, is where I'm at with that. It's like, yeah, why would I do that? But it will make it feel more like a coherent world there. Trying to make an ASCII donut thing. Oh, I saw that. I saw something. Yeah, I saw that on my Instagram feed or something the other day. It was really cool, actually. Fair play. How are you finding it so far? Power 2 Games, working on project right now as well. Awesome. We're all being productive at, well, it's 8:20 for me now, if you can see it on the top of my stream window there. Don't know what time it is for everybody else, wherever you are. Hope you're having a good day and being productive with your project. Yeah, fair enough, Alan. That's tough stuff. I feel you there with the 9 to 5 selectivity project. Yes, hello Romy, how you doing? I keep forgetting to message you back on Instagram. I feel so bad, I'm just so busy. But I want to say thank you to you for your feedback on the sticker pricing thing. That's very handy. And thank you for just being a great guy as well. You're really nice to talk to. And I will get better at responding to messages, I swear. Oh dear. Nice. Oh dear. The way they did it sucked a little bit, but if it was implemented great, it would not even be a bother. Cool. Well, that's the hope. Let's hope we can do a good implementation here. And it's 3 o'clock. Man, I wish it was 3 o'clock still here. I get sleepy quite quickly these days. Right. Let's get back to business. Let's see if we can figure out why this event is firing off twice. I reckon... Yeah, I don't know why it's firing off twice. I literally see no reason why it should be. Unless I've set up my input wrong in here somehow, but no. It's set up the same as the pause, and that doesn't double up anything. Jump doesn't. It's a really weird error. I feel like I must have been getting it before, because that change that I just made then shouldn't have touched it. What line is it? 24 of the dialogue trigger. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's firing this method twice, once with the player and once without the player. So weird. Unless it's doing it in here and it's actually this that's firing, which it might well be. So we're going to move that around. So what that is basically it's just in the start method. So public void start, we are saying echo events, which is just the class I've called my event class. So the game is called echo events for events in the game. So echo events dot on player interact dot add listener, and we pass in our on player interaction method. So that's basically just saying have this method in this class listen for when this event is fired. So now in our player controller, when we press the E button is what I've got it set up for on keyboard, or the square button on controller, specifically PS4 button west. It fires off this event, and so anything listening for that event to be fired will then call its respective methods, and it takes in the player specifically so that we can pass things like the player ID. Now, my suspicion is that the base class was calling the method twice because it's got the base class has it and then it's implemented, so it's calling the abstract base class, which doesn't have an implementation, as well as firing off this. But now I'm saying it out loud, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and that I can't see why that would fix my problem. So we're gonna have a look and see. So we're in the thing. Yeah, still got the same problem. It's line 29. Is that a different line to what it was before? No, it's not. It's the same. And it's firing it twice. That's so weird. That is really weird. I honestly don't know why that's a thing. Have I got multiple? It makes me feel like the event is being fired off in multiple places. I might come back to this one because I want to get other bugs sorted out, and there's a few on the list that I know what's causing them, and they'll be more straightforward to figure out than than this if they aren't what I suspect them to be, because this is a weird one. I can't figure out what would be firing off that event twice. Particularly because I can't think why this player controller should be null. It's a bit of a tricky one. Oh well, let's move on. So the next one that I want to look at is the player moving while the game is paused, I think. So as I demonstrated earlier, for anyone who wasn't here, I can walk past and press the interact button, or clearly not. Oh wait, I recompiled things. Let's try this again. I can walk past the thing, press the interact button, and he keeps going until I finish the dialogue sequence. and then he stops, or I can do the same with the pause menu and it will keep going until I stop. So we're going to fix that. I think it should be relatively straightforward. Simply in the freeze method, there's a freeze method on entities. Let's have a look. Entity? Is it entities or physics objects that have freeze? No, it's on here. Yeah, so for when it does the freeze, we are simply going to say velocity.x equals 0. And that should solve our problem. Yeah. No. If freeze. So if we're telling the entity to freeze, then we'll set velocity to 0. And that's fine. Yep, there we go. That works. Really cool. And now we should be able to do the same thing with pausing. Whoops. Let's try that a bit better, shall we? Yeah, there we go. Cool. Simple fix. Wouldn't time.timescale be handy for pause screen? Yeah, probably. I like to make my life difficult. Nah, there's a reason why I wasn't using it. I think it was something to do with animations or something. If I didn't do a Google search to check if changing timescale to 0 freezes animations, which I don't think it does, thinking about it, but or maybe it does. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to Google it now. Let's have a look. Does time.timescale affect animation? Animations ignore timescale. Apparently, is what it says here. Oh no. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the main problem I want to avoid, because I want to, when the game's paused, or if you're in dialogue or anything like that, I want to freeze everything, but I still want to have the idle animations playing, because that just, it feels better. Can't you set the animations to work with unscaled time? I don't know, can you? Based on this this little forum thread, there's a you could make an animation extension to play the animations, so that it ignores time.timescale. But at the same time, that said, at the same time, for things like when a player gets hit, or you want like an impact, you know, where it does the freeze frame, that is a situation where we'd want animations frozen. So it would be beneficial to have a system like that in place. Either way, chances are pretty much all of the code is going to change as we're progressing, because there'll be like swathes of refactoring, especially when we get to doing playtesting and looking at performance particularly. I imagine there's going to be a fair few things that need to change with regards to performance. So, excuse me, we'll be looking at that. But that's the player moving while paused fixed, and I think I fixed, there was an issue as well where if you pause or start a dialogue while you're in the air, yeah, that's cool. It just held you in the air and you kind of stood there flapping your legs about, but looks like I fixed that. And we've got our nice button click stuff as well. So, next thing is doing the dialog menu sounds. The dialog system does not play sounds, which it should do if I remember how I implemented sound. I think, oopsie daisy. I keep pinning things by accident or closing them by accident because my screen resolution is so low. Menu. I think I might have set the sound to play in the menu. Yeah. So I think I actually want to call this in my dialog menu. That's the custom inspector. That is dialog box controller. Is that the one? That's the one. Let's get rid of this reference to the input system that I don't need. And confirm I want to do base dot confirm. Simply. That should fix our problem. Ah, there you go. Thank you, Pyro 2 Games. That's a fact that I did not know. I'll have to keep that in mind for future reference. Whoops. Well, that's a nice bug, isn't it? Honestly, every time. So now, it's just playing the sound every time. And I want to change these sounds a bit, because they've not got as much reverb as I'd like them to have. But our issue here is that I've put this base.confirm in the wrong place. Because this isn't Java, and I can call base.confirm anywhere I like in the method. So, if we are picking an option, I want to do that here. Music to my ears. The sound of bells. Love it. I think that should have fixed it now. Tell you what, I'm going to get too much done too quickly. Index was, wait, line 63 of menu. Buttons, button index dot click. Am I not updating the button index? I feel like I am. You know what, let's just do it by hand. So we've got, I believe I have 2 sounds, or I should have 2 sounds anyway. I certainly want more than one. The change button sound should be happening in here. We'll just copy and paste that into place there. People might be wondering why I've basically got an identical method over here as I do over here as well, and the difference is instead of using buttons.length, we're using current dialog.options.count to select the buttons that we have, because we don't want to be able, if there's always 3 buttons there, but one of them or 2 of them might be hidden if there's only 1 or 2 options rather than the maximum of 3. So we don't want to select a button that isn't showing and doesn't have a choice, because it will cause errors, which is the issue that we're running into now with buttons, button index.click, mainly because I think I was calling it in the wrong place. Although I don't feel that makes much sense. Either way, it works in practice. And it definitely picks the right choice here with the dialogue object, so... yeah, I don't know. We're just going to play the sound in here instead. So here we will do this one, audio source. We'll play that sound, click button, and we're also going to have a another sound here, public audio clip called Dialog continue sound, like so, and we will basically do the same thing. So if we are picking a choice, we're going to play the click button sound, which is the one with the bell, the one that goes ping, and if we're not picking an option, we are going to play our button click sound, like so. Is everybody keeping up okay? Have I gone too techie at any point? I don't want to get too deep divey into the code stuff, even though we are fully on the... yeah, we're gonna go with that one. Fully on the bug fixing road today. We should have audio now though. Okay. Okay. Well, that's something. It's just playing the wrong sound. And it's because I've got that wrong. That needs to be dialogue continue sound, and that'll work. There we go. Code's the best part in your opinion. Oh, well, I almost said same, but I'm not too sure actually. The coding is fun. The coding is fun, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's, for me, it's the most tedious part of the stuff. Especially when something's not working as well. I get quite frustrated sometimes. But hey ho. I still enjoy it. That's why I got into it in the first place. Like 10 years ago. It was almost 11. It's 11 years ago now since I started programming, and I'm still not very good at it. Oh dear. Where's my pencil? There's my pencil. Dialogue not playing sound done. Cool. We are making good progress, and it's only 20 to 9, which means we've still got another hour and 20 minutes before we finish up, so we might be able to do some fun stuff. Just listening if I don't understand what's going on because I don't know a lot about code. I'm just trying to learn a little. That's good, man. That's good. Knowledge is power, and why would you not? Why would you not try and learn stuff? Especially if you're interested in it. And I'm glad that I can be someone to teach you something about it, even if it is minimal. Also, I want to put out a disclaimer now that I'm on the subject of people learning things from me. I'm not particularly great at this. I think probably my strengths would be the actual design of games, and after that probably the concepts and story stuff, the more creative side of things rather than the coding, because while I do know code and understand like design of code and stuff, my knowledge of implementations isn't fantastic, and I'm still not very good at programming paradigms. Even though I've literally just done that at university, I still don't get them very much. So a lot of the actual code that I do is quite messy, and probably not very good practice. But design of games and thinking about why mechanics should be as mechanics are and stuff. I feel like I'm pretty decent at that. So certainly, if you've got questions about game design, I might be able to give you some qualified knowledge there. Strength is staring at the screen and wondering what's happening. Nice. That is a good response. That's a good response. We like that. Right. What shall we do next? So we've got 2 bugs left on my list of things that I wanted to check out. We've got the player move parameters, so things like the wall climbing. I've just remembered that we've got the animations not set up properly still. So we'll look at that. If I do that, yes, he does just freeze, but he still animates. Cool. Okay, so that does freeze the timer as well. So that's another good thing. I can boop, and then hit continue, and it'll keep sliding, which is great. And he's got his little footsteps. Can people hear the sound of the game all right, by the way? Is that coming through as well, or is it just the music in the background that's getting picked up? The buttons are moving in the right direction now. That's not right. I'm finding this to be an inconsistency with the input system. Let me just test this with the controller real quick. So here we are, new player. Whoop. No, he's okay. Can I do that? I can. Weird. Well, we can tick that off because it works. I don't know why, and if it breaks again, I'm going to say it's a bug in the input system because I'm not changing anything about the way that order is being picked up, but that's not correct behavior. Can hear the sound effects and the stream music. Cool, good. Let's do the player default move variables. So presently, everything is hard coded, which we obviously don't want. So I'm going to create I'm going to just put another header in here because I want to be organized, and we are going to call it player statistic items, like so. And then I'm going to have another header section, header default move parameters, movement parameters. Cool. So we're basically going to copy and paste this over from the move item that we've got. So for anyone who's new or doesn't know how I've got this set up, the player can collect items that can affect their movement, their damage and their health from shops or by finding them in special rooms. And these you can carry one of any type of item at a time, and if you don't have an item, then you don't get any additional effect from how it should be. So these items have a series of statistics in them, and I can do this one of two ways. I can either have the move item be set to a default. Yeah, I'm going to do that because I'm lazy. So, yeah, because I'm lazy. So basically, these items have a series of statistics which will affect things like the jump height and jump velocity, things like that. So, wait, where have I got jump height here? Am I setting that correctly in... Yes, cool. So we're actually going to switch out all of these variables for things in the move item. So this one is going to be current move item dot jump height rather than just jump height. And for just as well, this character controller is based off Sebastian Laig's 2D platformer controller for Unity 5. Fantastic tutorial series. I spoke about it in my first devlog, and you should definitely check it out if you're making a platformer, because it is by far the best platformer controller that you can find in a tutorial. So yeah, check that out. Thanks for stopping by, Remy. See you when I see you. Hopefully soon. But have a good one. Yeah, Sebastian Laig's platformer controller, check that out. Really good. And the way that he does jumps is by calculating them using two parameters, which are the time to jump apex, aka the amount of time it takes from the player to go from the ground to the top point of their jump, and then the jump height, so how many units up that apex is. And from that, using kinematic equations from either, if you've done physics or mechanics of maths, one of those two, you'll have learned about kinematic equations, which are equations for calculating things around movement. So we use those here to calculate the various things we need for our jump. So I've switched it up a little bit, and instead of calculating the jump velocity and gravity from the time to jump apex and the jump height, we are calculating the time to jump apex and the velocity from the gravity and the height, so that I can have consistent gravity across all game objects, all physics things. So gravity is set as a constant, which I got from the original prototype. I think it's something like 37.5 or something like that off the top of my head. It's a relatively high value. And then we use an equation containing the jump height to calculate our time to jump apex, which then allows us to calculate our jump velocity based off of the gravity again and the time to jump apex that we have. So now we've got that explanation out of the way, I'm debating whether or not I want to... I was debating whether or not I want to move the time to jump apex over into here, which obviously I don't need to do because we're calculating it at runtime, so that's fine. Went off on a tangent for no good reason. Well, so the next thing that we need is to set the velocity correctly. So it's going to be input vector times current move item dot move speed, rather than 5, the hard-coded value of 5, which is the default value that we're going to use because I've tested it. It feels nice. We'll do the same with the slide speed. This is going to be current move item dot slide speed multiplied by time dot delta time, and we want to say here this is going to be current move item dot time to slide end, which isn't what it's called. It's called slide duration. I think that's wrong actually. That is wrong. That should just be slime. Where am I using my slide speed? Slide duration even. Oh, it will be when I press the shift button. Try slide, here we go. This needs to be current move item dot slide duration even. And I think that's everything. Jump height, move speed, yeah. So let's just make sure we've got all of the move speed stuff. So anywhere where we're using the value 5, which is that's poor. I shouldn't be hard coding things specifically for things like this. Here we go. Cool. Alright, nice. So last thing I want to do is just put a quick null check on here on my calculate jump velocity and the wake function, because we don't want it's not equal to null, although I guess it doesn't really make a difference. Yeah, it doesn't really make a difference because it'll just get thrown elsewhere. So we're not gonna have a null check in there. We are just gonna do it. So let me shrink down all of my many folders, and I want to find items. I swear I had a folder called items. Clearly not. Alright, let's make a new folder. I'm gonna call it items. Create another folder and we'll call it defaults. And I'm just gonna create a move item called default move item. Name is just gonna be a dash. Price is going to be 0, description, default, the regular pair of old shoes. It's just a regular pair of old shoes. Climbing shoes. Let's call them climbing shoes, because we do a lot of climbing in this game. Old climbing shoes. The sprite we are going to set to be this. Oh wait, no, yeah, I've got shapes in them. Okay, we won't set the sprite for the time being, but we'll leave all the values as default, and that should be good. See you, Power 2 Games. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. Let's just test that this works now, shall we? Oh, of course it won't. I haven't set it in the player. Fidget. So now that we don't have a value, it's just floating there. Let's oh, before I forget as well, let's uncomment the this animation set line so that we can slide. Give it a second. Prefabs, player, and we want to set move item to default move item. Hit play. There we go, and it is as was before, but now we are using the values from the item rather than from the hard-coded values. So next thing to do is to set these wall climb parameters properly. So I'm going to add, let's do some headers here. Standard movement parameters. There we go. And then wall climbing parameters. Wall climbing. Tell you what, let's get rid of the word parameters because it's a bit overkill. Good day, Alan, my friend. We're doing bug fixing today. It's going well so far, but also terribly at the same time. Right, we're going to have a series of vector 2s. We're going to have vector 2 for wall hop, public vector 2 for wall climb, and a public vector 2 for a wall leap. We do love bug fixing. We do love bug fixing. Right, we're going to set these all equal to a new vector 2, default vector 2, which I'm actually going to just leave it as empties. Or do I want to leave it as empties? No, not really. I just don't remember what the values I had before were. But to clarify what each of these are, a wall hop is where you just hop off the wall. So we want a small value for X and a small value for Y. Something like 7, 2 probably makes sense. So let's go 2, 7. Like that, like what we already have over here. The climb is going to be a little more extreme. We're going to be looking at probably something around, we want a big value for Y, something like 17, and then maybe on X we go something like 12, no, 10, 8, we'll go with 8 for the time being, just to play about with it. And then the wall leap, we want a big value on X and a smaller value on Y, so we're going to do like 14 and 15, like that. Let's see. Oh, and then of course we need to actually set that up in here. So current move item dot this is hopping wall hop dot X, and I'm just going to copy and paste this in all of the places and change what I need to change as I'm going. That's going to be wall hop dot Y. This is going to be wall leap and wall leap dot Y. Leap, capital L please. There we go. I haven't been paying attention to Twitch. I haven't even thought about the fact that I'm still streaming there because no one shows up. Next time I will stop streaming on Twitch. Apologies if anybody has shown up on Twitch and I've been neglecting you, but I don't think that's the case. The chat's empty and we've got one person who could well be my friend Adam, but if it's not, please come join us on YouTube, because I will no longer be streaming on Twitch from next week. Just be on YouTube. Cool. So this is going to be the wall climb dot X and wall climb dot Y. Climb. I am streaming on Twitch, yeah, but not anymore. if Twitch was, I apologize if Twitch was a better place for anybody, and that's where they'd rather go. But just in terms of people coming along, I've said before in previous streams that I've done, Twitch just doesn't have a specific place for game development in terms of tags or topic, and it doesn't really have as much. I haven't had as much success in terms of reach, at least, as I have on YouTube, especially with chat interaction as well. There's just a lot more interaction and feedback on YouTube, which is ultimately why I want to do the streams, is so that I can get feedback from people and chat with people while I'm working as well. So doing it on Twitch is kind of dead, I'm not gonna lie. Right, let's see how this oh wait, first of all let's check and see if it updated. It did not. So now nothing happens. It just kind of slides a bit. Right, let's get these values, shall we? We are going to 7. What was the climb? 817, 817, and 1415. I have a feeling I might need to make these values bigger, because it's not going to be quite enough. Never mind, it's way too big. Our wall leap is massive. Look at that. When he's climbing, he's like, whoa, whoa. He's properly shooting out there. The wall hop's pretty good, but I think I need to change the animation. To be honest, I'm thinking the leap is probably not too bad, but the climb is definitely not where it's at. We need to sort that. So I actually want to give him a bit more on the X for the leap. We'll keep it. We'll keep it. Let's do 15.5. 15.5, and for the wall climb, X needs to be more like 5. And we're going to take this. Take this to 13, shall we? See how that feels. Nah, it's still way too much. Oh, it's making me think they're the wrong way round. Yeah, I think we got them the wrong way round. Wall direction X is equal to the sign of our input vector. Yeah, I've got that the wrong way round. That should be climbing a wall. I want to just double check that actually. So we're going to check the log output for seeing if it's saying leaping off the wall or climbing up the wall. It should say leaping off the wall. Yeah. Got them the wrong way around. So that's fine. Let's just change these comments around. And sort out these values. In which case, the values were probably actually pretty good. This is wall climb, and wall leap, Whoops. Yeah, that's fine. Let's give that a test. That's alright. I think he might still be a bit much on the as you can see, he's kind of shooting up that wall. Pew. So the hop off is fine. The leap is okay. I think maybe I'll change some things on that as well, but that's too much on the Y for the climb. Let's try like 10. We'll give it 4. Oh, I've not even been doing the wall hop correctly. The wall hop is where you just press the space button or you just press the jump button without pressing any direction. So we hop on and hop off. And really that should change his face direction. Hop. Hop, hop, hop. This is pretty good. That feels alright. So, last thing I want to do, what we'll do for the rest of the stream then is we'll do sorting out that face direction first of all, so he turns around when he lands back down again. So he's facing this way, does a jump off and faces the other way. And then we will do some animation cleanup on the wall jump stuff because it's a bit janky. I want to add some spring like we've got on the normal jump animation, or the landing at least. Some subtle spring to make him feel a little more good. And that will be us for the day. I'm just shutting down Twitch. There we go. Who's still hanging about? Say hi in chat if you're watching or listening. Give me a wave. And I'm going to go in and sort out this wall leap. So, I should have a line up here. Hello, Joseph. Glad to see you still hanging around. Whoop. We are going to go into the hop-off wall under here, paste that in, and instead of using... actually, that is exactly what we want to do. We want to use negative of our original scale. No, it's not. We want to do original scale multiplied by mathf.sine multiplied by mathf.sine of wall direction x. That should do it, I think. Let's have a look-see, shall we? Ah, I hate it when that happens, where you hit the play button while it's still compiling, and then it takes ages to finish compiling and you hit the play button again. So now, nope. It's not done it. Wait a minute. This if statement, because I'm doing a velocity.x rather than input vector.x, because Wait. I think I can change that back actually. Input vector.x is not equal to 0. I just need to do a check because that I originally put that in for, I can't remember what for. Oh wait, no, I do remember what for. It's for this situation. And it's still not working anyway, so we're not going to pay attention to that. We're going to change that back because otherwise you can do a little flicky flick on the wall. So let's change that back to velocity. You know what? Let's use velocity here instead of input vector. Let's use velocity. Let's see what that does. I think that should do it. You know. So now it doesn't matter. Yeah, there we go. Hop. There's the issue with that one, is the climbing up the wall. Kind of does a weird flick. Although I think that looks okay. What do we think? Does that look alright if he does a little flip as he's climbing up the wall? I think it does. Because it's such a quick snap, it doesn't look too weird. If anything, it kind of looks more fluid. Let's make sure everything else is working still as well. Yeah. Cool. I think that's okay. It's not a bug, it's a feature, yeah. Exactly. Oh, that was definitely a bug though. Good. I'd say we are in the money then. Awesome. Let's work on these animations then, shall we? For plus minus 30 minutes, and then I am going to go to sleep. Because I'm a tired man. Righty. Let's pull this window up nice and big so we can see what's going on here. And hope for the life of us that Unity doesn't crash. Love this soundtrack. It's so good. Right, let's have a looky. Animation. We are animating the player graphics, which I've done this in a really silly way. I've animated directly onto the player design graphics instead of animating the player, which I can fix quite easily just by renaming the hierarchy, but it's going to be a bit of a ball ache, and I'm kind of procrastinating over doing it because I don't really want to. But you know, we'll get there. We'll get to it. Wall jump. Actually, first of all, let's go to our normal jump animation because he squishes quite a lot, and I've been told by multiple people, including both my friends and my girlfriend, that there is way too much squish. He should not be this squishy, so we're gonna make him not quite that squishy. That's a bit better, but he's still pretty damn squishy. Oh, that's because I'm not recording. Clearly not a bit better then. It's all placebo. There we go. That's better. Bit less squishy. Bit less squishy. Bit less squishy. Jeez. Wall jump. So as you can see, the legs aren't doing a fat lot. Here we want him to want this animation to be a bit longer. I want him to be here, and then instead of going straight to there, I want him to pull in more. So he's gonna do something like this, rotate forward, these legs are properly gonna pull in. Like so. Properly pull in. Let's not move the foot, shall we? Let's rotate the foot. Oh, I'm not recording again. God damn it. So there he is. Rotate. Compress. Properly pull in. Do a bit of a tuck. Let's not do that. Take the bone I actually want to move. We compress and then explode out with the leg moving back to where it should be. We're actually going to move his body out. Slow this down a bit, shall we? Where are we at right now? 8. Let's double the speed, take it to 16. So he's there, tuck in. That tuck needs to be more exaggerated, or this first stance needs to be a little less. Or here, let's have the body, let's have him going much more outwards. There we go. Then when we get to here, he can rotate up a bit, but we want this to be properly forwards, and in fact I might take him and rotate him a bit more forwards there. Then we'll do the scaling thing. So we're going to scale him in and therefore up, because that's how that works. Scales in and then he's going to jump. And we're going to scale him in a bit more up. And as he gets to here, we're going to scale him out and down. And then we'll get back here and we'll have him at 1-1. That doesn't look right, does it? In, out. That's because of that. He shouldn't be scaling in there. Should be scaling out. Boing. I'm actually going to go a bit below again here so that he's got some spring to him. And then we'll take all of this. Where's my thing? Take all of this and compress it down to 10 frames. So it's proper quick. Stop the record button. Delete our player because we don't need him anymore. And then we are going to go into play mode and play about with our animation tree. So let's just make sure we select our player graphics. I'm going to shrink this down a fair bit so that I can see the animation tree properly, because we are going to be fiddling with these transitions. So at the moment, I don't feel like it's particularly instant. Well, no, it is. It's just this exit time 0. Want that to be instant. Transition offset 0. So we go straight into the jump. Poing. And actually, I'm thinking the scale needs to be in the other direction instead of sideways. It needs to be like the normal jump, where he bounces vertically. Because it's way too much right now, especially with the flipping. Doesn't look right. I also need to play about with that lerp value when he's accelerating or decelerating. It's a bit too... He kind of goes whoosh and then slows down very quickly. It needs to be a fair bit slower, or that launch distance should be lower. So let's just have a look here. When he hops off the wall, that's another one as well. When he goes from 0 to 100 at light speed. Boing. Things like this jump animation as well, or going back to the end slide. That should be exit time 0, or the transition duration should be smaller. How does that look now? He kind of gets up and then whereas at 0.5 that's better. So let's just shrink down the transition duration to like 0.05 maybe. There we go. So what I want to make sure is that he doesn't start playing the jump animation when he's in the air. So you get to that point and then you're at the end of the slide and you jump and it doesn't get to do the animation quick enough. So we do the end slide animation. I think it is going to be the exit time that's causing the issue of the animation, but there's nothing I can particularly do about that, unfortunately. Not right now, at least I can't. I think it's good enough for the time being for an early prototype. I just want to sort out these wall jump animations because they're it's a bit janky. Let's have a fiddle. Let's have a fiddle for a bit. See what happens. Player. Drag him back in. What I'm actually going to do... no. I was going to copy and paste the frames over, but I don't really want to do that. I feel like that's more trouble than it's worth. I'm just going to delete the scale frames. have him end up more upright than that. We want him to basically be in our in airframe. Oopsie daisy, what happened there? That's a really good point. We want him to basically be in our end of the jump frame, more or less. So let's do rising. Actually no, we'll just grab the final frame of our jump here. Not the scale though, because we're not messing with the scale. We just want this one. That's just rotation. So let's grab all of this, except the scale. And the position. Why is position in there? That shouldn't be in there. Oh, maybe it should. But I don't want position. Our music has stopped. What position? We want to rotate this body bone up a bit so he's nice and straight and looking out. Boing. Oh, let's make sure we're recording. Let's get some music going again. There we go. Dum da dum dum da dum. Don't want him quite as lent out there. And he's leaning out at that point. Wait. No, we want him to be, scratch that, lent out there. At the most he's going to be, stop. Looking up. So he's bending into it and then launch. This is where he's going to start raising up a bit. And then he flies out. Where's my main bone rotation? Let's move that back a bit. There we go, that'll do it. What's the levels on this? It's close to where I'm at. Oh well, I'll speak loud and stay close to the microphone. Because if my calculations are correct as well, or if that looks okay, that's gonna be the last thing I wanted to do in this stream, and we'll call it a wrap there. Because that's gonna have been some good. Yeah, that's looking decent. Boing. It's still a little bit janky. I think mainly it's because he hits the wall too quickly. Like the time that the animation lasts is longer than the time it takes him to come back to the wall when he's hopping up it. So it looks a little bit janky, in which case we'd probably want to go into our default move item and update the wall hop X to something like maybe 3. No, not the wall hop. The wall climb to something like 6. looks all right. How about now? Does it look okay with the longer, the slightly higher Y value, X value even? Maybe at some point I'll create another animation. Cool. Alright, great. In that case, button's still working good. Oh. Nope, that's fine. Yeah, buttons are still working good. Sounds all functional. And we're at 9:30, so I think we are gonna end things off there. I think that's a nice place to round things off. So, as per usual, I want to say a thank you. I'm gonna give you a shout out, Joseph, because you're a legend and you've been here for the whole thing, and for most of the streams since, at least since the devlog that got algorithm boosted. But you're always hanging about, and it's awesome chatting with you. So, thanks very much, man. It's cool to have you here. Everyone else who's in stream as well, or has shown up in the past, left and come back, or anything like that, thanks very much for hopping in. I'm gonna just turn that down a bit because it's loud in my ears. Yeah, massive thank you to everybody who comes by and checks these streams out, checks out the devlogs and tutorials that we'll be having starting soon. Yeah, I thought so. It was random how well that devlog did, but I'm forever grateful for it because it's what's given me the amount of subscribers that I have now. And certainly it's nice when things like that happen, because I was starting to move into a bit of a motivational dip as well, with the progress having gone missing or having corrupted, and videos starting to not perform as well. I was starting to fall into a bit of a slump and a motivational dip. So when that boost happened and we had the more than 215 people subscribed to the channel that we had, it was a really, really good, really important motivational boost, which feels sad to admit, because it's like, you know, everyone says, you know, it's just a number, and it is just a number, but it honestly means so much to me that there are 378 people out there now who are interested in what I'm doing and want to support the channel by rocking up to the live streams and watching the devlogs, leaving comments, leaving likes, leaving dislikes even, and the feedback for why the dislike has been left. Like, even dislikes are great, because I want to know what I'm doing wrong. I want to be able to improve the channel, improve the game. So even if you want to leave a dislike, you're like, oh, this video is rubbish compared to what you usually do, leave a dislike for me and tell me why in the comments, please, because any feedback is better than none. And yeah, I can't say how grateful I am for the support that all you guys give me. I know I keep banging on about it, but it's not going to stop. Because it's amazing. But on that note, let's call it a close there. If you're not already following us on Instagram, or if you haven't seen the latest devlog yet, I've said that I've got exams coming up at college next week, university. So I'm gonna be having to hold back on the development progress a bit. Which is why the tutorial that I'm going to do on Saturday around the menu system is more likely to happen than a devlog, just because I won't have as much to show for the next couple of weeks while I'm revising and doing those exams. But following that week, I've got a week off of work, so I'll be basically working full time on the game at that point, and we should have plenty more to show for it. So, all that said, thank you again everybody for stopping by and watching the stream. Hopefully you enjoyed, and yeah, hopefully I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks to you again, Joseph. You're an absolute legend, man. You have a good rest of your afternoon / evening, and yeah, see you either at the weekend or next Tuesday. As for the rest of you, thanks again. I will see you see you when I see you. Cheers, guys.